One of the things that I've been studying recently and working on a lot in the consultancy that I've been doing is around getting connectivity at different clouds. So if we talk about cloud interconnects, and then I'll explain some of the options that you have and some of the complexities that you need to think about. Let's imagine that there's a data center, a CoLo facility, and this is the CoLo facility here, and the CoLo facility has connectivity to the internet and then cloud service providers. So that could be Microsoft, AWS, GCP, Oracle, and so on. Anywhere that you can host infrastructure as a service servers. Now, if we have a wide area network here, and it could be any kind of wide area network and a site connected. So it could be internet, could be SD-WAN, could be MPLS, layer 2, layer 3, VPN. But regardless, there's a link that comes into a device in the data center, and then there's connectivity. What happens next is there's normally racks within this data center or within colocation data centers, right, that have got devices like servers, load balancers. This might be like a VNF or NFV rack with virtual functions and servers and compute and whatever. And then we might have like an infra rack. Now, this here is normally the meet me room in the colocation facility, and normally there will be a cross connect, which is basically a fibre that goes over to the company's infrastructure, and then these racks are normally connected back to an infrastructure rack. So if you go with old school data center terminology, this would be the end of row, and these would be like probably top of rack cabinets. So they would have like top of rack switches in order to get back to the end of the row. Now, if we were to actually just extend this, say that the CSPs were in the same data center, then there's different ways that we can actually get access to the cloud service provider. The ways that we can get access to these cloud service providers are a couple. So option one, and there might be other options here, might be physical cross connect. Okay, and that might be, or would typically be, if I mark that in blue, a cable to this cloud service provider environment, but it would land in your company's tenant. So it would be in the Microsoft Azure tenant or landing zone for your company. So that's a physical cross connect. Another option might be option 2, I should say, might be to use fabric connection. And what this means is that you have the WAN connectivity coming in via the meet me room, and then a cross connect to the infrastructure rack. But there might also be a CoLo provider might have a fabric service. If you take this fabric service in order to get to any of these services, and I've just given like the most common cloud service providers, but this could be any service really, any other telco that's present in the data center. You can, as long as they're partnered with the co-location data center owner, or a tenant in that co-location facility that provides access to these environments, then what you can do is take a fabric port, which is normally like 10G. So you can take a fabric port, I'll make that a little bit more bold. So that this would be the fabric port here, physical port. And then what you can do is create services. Oh, I've already used blue. Create services, let's say to the front door of Oracle. We can create an overlay network into Oracle. Or we can create an overlay network into GCP over this 10 gig fabric port. Now the GCP connection, GCP might be 1 gig virtual circuit, and the Oracle might be, I'm just making these numbers up, might be 2 gig. And but the point here is that, you know, you can have a cross connect, a physical cross connect, this 10 gig physical cross connect, which is the fabric port or the fabric interface or the fabric connection into the co-location provider or the fabric provider's environment, who already has connections to Microsoft, AWS, GCP, Oracle. And you can leverage that by taking a port from their infrastructure and then creating your own services over the top. This is only really scratching the surface. You also have to think about like how many VLANs, if it's a layer 2 or a layer 3 connection, how you want to actually terminate these sessions into the cloud environment, or it might actually be for peering with another telco. So you might, what you're really doing here is using these cloud provider fabrics in order to get you where you want to get to. In an extreme case, what you might actually end up doing as well is, let's say you have another site down here, and then there's a switch at this site, and this is a layer 2 service. You might actually, if you go away from like a cloud service provider environment, and let's say we've got provider 2 here, and let's say that there's like I'll make that in a different color. If this is provider 2, so this is a different thing that we're talking about here, and we want VLAN 20 from the site down here, VLAN 20 extended all the way to, say, this top of rack. We might need to do something like this. Make it a bit thicker line. So we take a VLAN here, and it comes up into the data center. It might actually like branch off here into the provider network directly, but then from there they might use they might have a fabric port in order to get from here to here, and then back over this infrastructure to this particular rack. So there's but that's a layer 2 path, VLAN 20 end to end. That, yeah, you can see it can, the complexity can start building up, where you've got multiple different providers, cloud service providers, transport providers, all coming into the data center, and there's different types of cross connects, interconnects, cross connects, interconnects, and a whole load of complexity. This is only scratching the surface, as I said earlier in the video, but yeah, it's definitely a subject matter that you want to, if you're a core network designer, you should start familiarising yourself with.